नित्यानन्देश्वरसमारम्भाम् नित्यानन्देश्वरिमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. I welcome all the devotees, disciples, samajis, satsangis, Sarvanya Pita Yajamans, Sri Mahants, Mahants, Tanedar Kotari, everyone sitting with us through Nityananda TV and two-way video conferencing, having Nayana Diksha all over the world. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. I'll enter into the next verse in Kenopanishad. Recite along with me. Naham manye Suveteti no naveteti Vedacha yo nastat Vedatat veta no naveteti Vedacha naham manye suvedeti no navedeti vedacha yo nastat veda tat veda no navedeti vedacha naham manye suvedeti no navedeti Vedacha yo nastat veda tat veda no navedeti Vedacha. Listen. The English translation. The disciples said, I do not think that I know it well, and not that I do not know it. I know and I do not know as well. One who amongst us subjectively cognizes and knows that to be as, not that I do not know it, and also I know it not, truly knows it. Listen. Definition of a disciple is, it's not that he completely does not know, it's not that he completely knows, and he knows something and he does not know something. Understand? Knowing what you know is knowledge. Knowing what you don't know is also knowledge. Knowing what you don't know is also knowledge. Not knowing what you don't know is ignorance. Not knowing is not ignorance. Not knowing what you don't know is ignorance. Knowing what you know is knowledge. Knowing what you don't know is also knowledge. Not knowing what you don't know is only ignorance. Beautifully disciple says, I do not think I know it well. Means, I don't think, he is very clear. He is not completely enlightened. And he also knows it's not that I don't know at all, and not that I do not know it. Naham manya sweteti nona vedeti vedachaha. I do not think I know it well, and that does not mean I do not know. I know and I do not know as well. Means there are some parts of the truth I do get into that embodied states, but there are some parts of the truth still not revealing itself to me, or I am not occurring to it. Listen carefully. I use the word embodied. Just today morning, I was having conversation with some of the ashramites. The concept I was explaining, if you understand, you will be able to understand this verse clearly. Upanishads are basically helping you to embody the consciousness they are describing. The last verse, Kenopanishad described about the pure questioning. Yati manyase suvedeti tapramevapi nunam tvam vetta brahmano rupam yatasyatvam yatasyat desh deveshvatanu mimamsyamevate manyavititam. If you think, the Guru says, if you think I know it very well, then you certainly have known only very little expression of Brahman's true nature and form. What you know is conditioned by your limited perception of Brahman's expression in yourself and its expression among the gods too. Therefore, Brahman, the absolute truth, is still to be sincerely inquired into, contemplated and internalized by you. See this whole verse. If you start thinking, contemplating, internalizing, I gave you a very precise technique. Whenever you find time, even while cooking, while lifting stones, while making calls, while serving, between few minutes, whenever you find time, surely you will be having enough time when you go for 1, 2, 3, all that. Surely you are not going to be doing anything else at that time, and your mind is not going to be active unless you have a constipation. All those moments you get, turn towards you, ask, what is it in me which is making me breathe? What is it in me which is making me hear, listen? What is it in me which is making me see? What is it in me that is making me breathe? At that time, don't breathe too much. Understand even this question. Suddenly turn your attention to something that will make you experience what I call embodied states of consciousness. In Sanskrit, we have a beautiful word, bhava samadhi. Whatever becomes your bhava samadhi is known to you. Whatever has not become your bhava samadhi is not known to you. Whatever has become your bhava samadhi is known to you. Whatever has not become your Bhava Samadhi is not known to you. Make your life the lifestyle of Bhava Samadhi. I was talking today morning about Rudrabhishekam. What for it is? Early morning, 4:30 when you get up and pour cold water on you and finish the Panchakriya, go and sit in front of that Shivalinga, 1008 Shivalingas, energized personally by Sadashiva, sit and connect with Sadashiva, wherever you may be, whoever you may be, whatever form you may be. Something I may know, something I may not know. O Sadashiva, I know you are the source of everything. You are everything. And you are in this linga, you are in this body. You are the source for both. Let me connect with you. Let you reveal yourself to me. Let me be in the Bhava Samadhi of you. Shivoham. Sit. When you sit in that Bhava and do action of Rudrabhishekam, the embodied states of consciousness becomes your reality. Bhava Samadhi becomes possibility. I tell you, it is this Bhava Samadhis which are the juiciest moments of life. Till you experience this Bhava Samadhis, only sex will be the juiciest point in life, juiciest experience in your life. You will be running behind only that. Understand, only Bhava Samadhis can give you the higher taste in life, higher joy in life, higher consciousness in life. Then after that, whether you want to have a physical joys or don't want to have is up to you. But without having the Bhava Samadhi, if you are enjoying only the physical pleasures, it will be so suffocating, because so many things need to be maintained. Even with all that maintenance, it is many times disappointing you. So everything related to your physical pleasure and physical pleasure life, you will start developing incompletions with it, and you will start hating it. I tell you, many times I have seen people getting into this. They will go to Hawaii, they will go to Kashmir, they will go to Goa. Instead of enjoying their vacation, they will start planning, if I have a vacation home here, how sweet it will be. They will buy a vacation home, and maintenance and all that will become such headache, and so much of incompletions they will develop. They will never ever again even hear the word Goa. Even the word Goa will be so heavy for them. I have seen people doing this. Understand, Bhava Samadhi, embodied states of consciousness, will awaken such amazing doors about life to you. That is why Rudrabhishekam. In that half an hour, you will just enter into that Bhava Samadhi of Shivoham. Kirtan is a technique for Bhava Samadhi. When your stomach gets churned again and again, it will release all the pitta, all the toxins will be cleansed. Suddenly you will see the stomach feels so much of joy. It's as if you have swallowed a joy pillow and it is sitting there. Now it feels like acid pillow. If you just do the kirtan fully, with all that rotating the body and steps, you will suddenly feel the whole stomach has become like a joy pillow. You swallowed a joy pillow and it is sitting inside. It will be so sweet and light. The embodying different states of consciousness, our embodied state of consciousness, is the purpose of all the spiritual practice, whether it is pure questioning or unclutching, complete completion, morning yoga, Rudrabhishekam, or Guru Puja, or Kirtan, or the Satsang. By the time you come to the Satsang, you should be ready to embody what I am sharing, what I am entangling, or what I am vibrating. Whatever becomes your Bhava Samadhi is known to you. Whatever has not become your Bhava Samadhi is unknown to you. That is all Upanishad is expressing in the second verse. Second verse, Naham manye suvedeti Nona vedeti vedacha, Yonastat veda tat veda, Nona vedeti vedacha. One amongst us subjectively cognizes and knows that to be as, not that I do not know it, the not known reality, and also I know it not, the unknown reality truly knows it. See, if you know what has become your Bhava Samadhi and what is yet to become your Bhava Samadhi, you have a complete knowledge about you. Constantly working all your intellectual understandings to become Bhava Samadhi, embodied states of consciousness. I tell you, the wealth you can acquire while you are in the human body, the highest wealth you can acquire while you are in the human body is embodied states of consciousness. Bhava Samadhi. Sometimes bhakti, love, sometimes that Shivoham, sometimes the Suddhadvaita Anubhuti. How you embody the consciousness. Embodying consciousness means your length, breadth, depth is filled by that one bhava. Your length, breadth, depth radiates, vibrates with that one consciousness. When you embody consciousness, that becomes reality. See, when I embody Sadashiva, simply whomever I initiate, they manifest the powers. If you are a Balasant without much toxins, you directly manifest. If you are an adult with some toxins, at least toxins starts coming down. If I put 20 initiations, the first initiation starts opening up. There are some people in the ashram, if you tell them 100 jokes, for the first joke they will start laughing. During the 98th joke. That is the way. If I give 100 initiation, by 98th initiation, the first initiation will start working. That is okay. I am ready to do that hard work also, no problem. If you are going to manifest, I am ready to do anything. Embodying consciousness. Embodying consciousness. Becoming Shiva Gana, Chit Gana. Consciousness means Chit. Embodying means Gana. Chit Gana Anubhava. For example, in the morning yoga, the experience which is expected is you feeling the whole body is nectar. In the yoga, yoga is all about experiencing tremendous ecstasy, orgasm in the very body without any other body, just in the air. The whole body vibrating the joy. Amrita Sharira. That is the conscious embodiment. Chit Gana Anubhava. Supposed to happen during the yoga. The purpose of yoga is that only. Do Mallakamba or hang in the rope and do, or roll on the ground and do upside down. Use all the accessories required. Use even weights required. Whatever you want, you have full freedom. The goal, the context is embodying Amrita Sharira. Embodying the ecstatic body without external touch, just by the air. Next, Panchakriya. Panchakriya is such embodying purification. Once you complete the Panchakriya, you should feel your whole body is pure. Then puja, embodying bhakti, consciousness. Chit Gana Anubhava of bhakti, bhava samadhi of bhakti. Surrender, devotion, dropping all the crap from the head. In the Panchakriya, below the chest you clean. Whatever is unnecessary you drop. During puja, above the head you clean. Whatever is unnecessarily accumulated you drop. During the satsang, you sit in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, just to reverberate, vibrate, entangle. Sada Shivoham, Shuddhadvaita Satya. The whole morning routine I have designed as a complete embodying the state of consciousness. Chit Gana Anubhava. Chit Gana Anubhava. It is all about Bhava Samadhi. It is all about Bhava Samadhi. Whatever has become your Bhava Samadhi, Chit Gana Anubhava, you know it. Whatever has not become your Chit Gana Anubhava, you don't know it. I'll continue to expand the deeper sacred secrets in further satsangs. I bless you all. Let you all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhadvaita Saivam, the eternal bliss, Nityananda. Thank you. Be blissful.